Hey, this is Shaun with the Atlanta Tennis Podcast, powered by GoTennis. Check out our calendar of Metro Atlanta tennis events at letsgotennis.com. And this year, the whole year, if you want to be part of the podcast, we want to hear your story. So go to letsgotennis.com/my story. We want to hear you tell your story. We'll maybe even feature it on the podcast. You'll be entered to win some cool stuff. And today is 10 minutes of tennis. We've only got 10 minutes today. 10 minutes of tennis at 10:02. We are on island time as often. It's kind of like as always, only as often. Justin Yeo, world-renowned tennis pro in Puerto Rico, who is also an Aussie. And we are going to talk today about your hands. Why are your hands everything? The title today, your hands are everything, as I use my hands to talk, right? Hands are
Yeah.
everything. We talk racket sports. You've heard all the bend your knees and keep your eye on the ball and keep your hands in front and good hands. And, oh, somebody hits a nice shot. Oh, good hands at the net. Is that what we're talking about? Are we talking a little more technical? Where are we going with this, Justin?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's more than technical. You know, as a player gets better and better and
To
better,
talk,
the
right?
one thing that mostly shows is their hand. Uh, and if you, I don't know, for people that have played the sport enough, if you actually watch the players and you watch how they hit the ball, you're just surprised, amazed by how good their hands are. And that, majority of errors come from the hands, because the tension or the mind was saying something. But the hands, there's got to be an automatic feeling with the hands that can make you, win or lose or play well or play poorly. But the hands come down to, I guess, what we call grip tension, understanding, palm of the hands to give yourself more chances of feeling or controlling the ball. Um, but yeah, I guess what the whole point is, there are a lot of players, a lot of I guess people that hit a lot of balls every day, and they say, well, I'm turning the shoulders, my feet are in position, I've made a good decision. Why can't I get that ball there every single time? Why can't I just? And a lot of that comes down to when the players hit enough balls, it's their hands that can actually direct the ball and change the direction or target, or just do things that they didn't think they could do, because their hands are the ones that mean the difference. And crazy example, but think about Bubik and Kyrgios and some of these guys with all these different trick shots. That's not something you technically, you go out and say, well, I'm going to do that. It's just they have really good hands. And one of the other big ones for a long time, which we all don't talk about enough anymore, which I'm very sad about, is Roger Federer. I mean, Federer, reason why he wasn't so injured, he didn't have to rely so much on the body and technique. Not saying he had poor technique, but he had incredible hands. I mean, talk about talent from the hands. Like what he accomplished that no one else could do from a half volley backhand and ripping forehands and hitting shots that off the toes or off the ball on the rise. You're talking about hands. So that's what I'm talking about hands.
Okay, so that
But I
makes
think,
me think of when you say Roger, that makes me think of why he's such a great server with a
yep,
toss that isn't as obviously different. You got an Andy Roddick, maybe not the guy with great hands, but so his serve toss is completely different on the second serve. Where Roger seemed to be able to do more with a similar toss. I think of Pete Sampras being able to do the same thing, but that just makes me wonder: are the serve and volleyers potentially going to have better hands? Go back to a John McEnroe. You look at him and he almost looks awkward every other time he hits the ball because it's just all about his hands. He didn't care how it looked on the court.
John McEnroe is a great example of hands. I mean, for real. He had that odd forehand grip that just, he still, to this very day, in his age, can still hit with some of the best because of his hands. So hands are, I mean, I guess the emphasis, what I'm pointing out, is that when I see teachers, coaches, and teaching of this sport, we don't spend enough emphasis on your hands have to direct the ball with your palm, and you want it here, you want it here. If you want it deep, your hands can direct it deep. If you want it short, they can hit. It's not just about technique or rolling the elbow or finishing your follow through here. A lot of it has to do with what the hands are doing to the ball. And
That takes me
your
back
hands,
to the beginner almost, where okay, our example is a John
100%,
McEnroe and Roger Federer, but when I'm working with the
100%.
7-year-old and I say I need that racket face going
Mhm.
forward, I'm talking about the palm of the hand. I'm talking
Yep,
about directing the ball left or right or up or down. And if they can picture the racket as an extension of the hand, that sounds
yep,
again like another bumper sticker for tennis coaches, right? Here, the racket is the
yeah.
bumper sticker for your hand. Not the bumper sticker, the racket is the extension of your hand, sorry. So that concept, even from a beginner to understand the racket face similar to the palm of the hand.
100%. Well, I guess what I'm saying is a lot of coaches talk about it, but eventually it loses sort of traction because we're getting technique or footwork right or whatever, but you can't let go. Okay, all my lessons, my first 5 minutes, I say to people, we don't do the half court stuff. Half court to me, you're blocking and you're short gripping and you're rolling your hands off the bracket, right? So we always start
But
three quarter to
isn't that a good
four.
thing? Sorry to interrupt. Isn't that a good thing? Because that's all I use in the short court when I hit as a warm up for myself is just feeling the ball on the hand because I don't have a full swing. The racket's just in front.
No, because what do you want to do with your hands? You want to lengthen your hands.
I
You
want
don't
to
want to
lengthen
just
the
lift.
swing, but not my hand, right?
But when you lengthen the swing, what are you doing with your hands?
The same thing I'm doing at the net, which is a nice, easy up the back of the ball stroke or underneath the ball.
Wow. Well, we're moving on for the next 10 minutes because I can tell you, when a player hits the ball, he's not doing that. He's doing that.
Is that why I'm bad at tennis? Is that what you're pointing out?
I did not say that. I did not say that on live TV in a tennis podcast. Did not say
I know you
that.
didn't say it, but it's what I heard.
Well, all I'm pointing out is your hands are so important that you can't let go of that. I spend the first 5 minutes of most lessons making people understand the first thing you want to do is get those hands hitting up and through the ball and lengthening the swing, not shortening the swing, and trying to be elastic and loose. Because that's if you watch the players in their first 5 minutes of their match, then they've already warmed up before they hit the court. But as they get to the court, they're learning to see the ball, get the preparation, get everything right perception wise from reading their opponent up the other end by getting their hands and the eyes and the head, like getting it all set. Then the legs get involved, then the weight transfer, then everything builds up from there. But the hands are just so critical, so
All right.
critical.
So aside from the fact that we figured out I'm bad at tennis today, how are you going to advise me or why I'm bad at tennis? Well, this is so here you go. Justin Yeo, fix me. So let's say I'm doing this wrong. I'm doing that short court. You're going to suggest not to. Let's say it's my
Yeah.
pre warm up routine. Maybe I don't have a coach right now, or even if I go to my coach and they're doing this, don't pick a fight with your coach, of course. But ask the question. Say, Justin, what are you going to tell me to think about, even if I'm not doing that from my coach personally? What's the one thing you're going to tell me about my hands that I can practice to get better?
Uh, well, one way is to practice against a hitting wall because
Oh,
that's lengthening and hitting you straight towards
I want a
one
hitting wall in
target.
my backyard. I want a hitting wall in my front yard. I want hitting walls everywhere in the world. I think they're fantastic.
So that's one way to help it. And then the other way is just warm up from the back of the court first thing because if you're backing off the ball's going to go short and you can't rally with your opponent, right? You can't even warm up properly. So, your first instance to be able to get that length is you're going to have to eventually get your hands to direct the ball, all the way. It just won't happen if you're coming off it.
You hear
So,
that, Atlanta? Get rid of the short court warm up. Go back to the
yeah.
baseline. Tell everybody, you know what? Justin Yeo says there's a better way to do this. We're doing it this way from now on. Everybody, we just changed the tennis warm up for 100,000 people right here. I like it.
Yeah.
Justin Yeo, 10 minutes of tennis. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. I appreciate it, buddy.
Huge, man. You have to stay elastic. You have to stay loose.